What's up, my little EBs? And also, what's up, my fellow poopers? Today it's time for a sentence mixing tutorial for Shotcut, a free editing software that I use. And I will just teach you the basics of sentence mixing. I will start off with the easy example of a sentence mix that I'm sure many beginners could do. And then I'll get to the more advanced stuff. So sentence mixing is really difficult. You know, there's a reason why you see the best YouTube poopers do this. They're just so skilled to a point where they can just make crazy stuff like that. And sentence mixing is really difficult. I think what makes sentence mixing easier would be if you have enough knowledge of what sentences you could make with the clip you're pooping. In this case, when I'm trying to make a YouTube poop of the CDI Zelda cutscenes, in this case, there's actually a lot to work with. And if I memorize all the iconic moments from these cheesy cutscenes, then I could come up with something that a character says at a specific part that could help me with sentence mixing. And I think it's time to get started with the easiest example of a sentence mix. There are many easy examples, yeah, but this is one that I want to start with for this tutorial. Okay, so to get started, I want to pick a line from Link in the intro of the Wand of Gamelon cutscenes. Yeah, because okay, it's right here. So in the intro of Zelda, the Wand of Gamelon, yeah. In this intro cutscene, Link says this line, which I think is a good way to start with sentence mixing, since it shows you some basics. Okay. So, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna change one word, yeah? Since we're starting off the basics, we're just gonna change one word, and then we get to the more intense stuff. And I'll just have to remove this really quick. There we go. If you're wondering why my splits on my timeline look so small, in case they look bigger to you, if you go under here, under the timeline menu, and then go to track height, you can change the size of the tracks, which are the splits, pretty much. You know, the videos and images and audio you're working with on your timeline. And now I'm sure it looks something like that to you, but you can also make it smaller like this. I do it like this because I think that's just better to work with in terms of workspace. But yeah, this is really just a preference thing. You can make them big, you can make them small. I'll just leave them this small. That's just how I want to work. One more thing to explain is definitely the video mode. So when you import a video during automatic as a video mode, you get exactly that, what you get from the first clip you import. In this case, because I imported these cutscenes in 720p quality and 10 FPS, that's exactly what I get. But one tip I want to give to everyone is that if you're doing some sentence mixing, I would highly recommend setting the frame rate to at least 25. You can also go crazy with 30 and 60, but I want to work with 25. The reason why a higher frame rate is better for sentence mixing is because since there's just way more frames per second, you also have way more space to work with in terms of trying to make some sentences. You can still do sentence mixing with 10 FPS. Yeah, you can still do the basic stuff, but for the more advanced stuff we'll get into later, I would definitely set it to 25. And as you can see, the timeline is getting bigger, because now there's more space to work with, thanks to there being more frames. Okay, so the reason why I picked this clip as a beginning example is because of this line.
Boy, I'm so hungry I could eat an octorok.
Octorok, this is the word we're gonna change.
I could eat an
Okay, so we're just gonna check where Link finishes saying N,
I could eat an
and I just paused correctly. You can also do stuff like this with the timeline to find it. You have to listen carefully, and then you'll find out on which part he finishes the word N and then gets to the word Octorok. And now I'm gonna set the split here by clicking here.
octorok.
And now he just says Octorok here. By the way, I can just click on this split, add an effect to it, and then mute it.
Could eat an
And now he says nothing after the N, which is a good sign because this means we can edit the word that he says at the end. So, now we're getting to the splicing part, in which we take parts of this audio and then splice it together to form a different word out of it. One thing that I definitely recommend for sentence mixing is that you go to the timeline menu and add an audio track. Then you right click on this track or split or whatever you call it. Then you go to more and then you detach the audio. And now the video no longer has the audio, but the audio is still here. It's just in the audio track. So, my goal here is to make him say cock instead of octorok. That's why I think this is an easy example to start with.
octorok.
So I want to get rid of the octor. I think this is good enough. I can still hear a bit of the R. Ock. Ock. Yep. I think I'm gonna put this here. Because this is a very short word compared to octorok. And now we're gonna search the part where he says k at the end, which is why I want to really keep that. Now we're gonna search for the part where he says k at the end of octorok. I think this is it. Yeah. And now what we can do is we can press Control and C on the keyboard, and then Control and V. And now it's copy and pasted. And now we put it here. Let's take a listen. Okay, and since this is a very short sentence, we definitely want the video to go along the sentence. So there's two possibilities for this. We can just, splice this video. Something like this.
I could eat an ock. Hungry, I could eat an ock.
Yeah. And then 1 month later. That's one possibility to do this. But here's another method which, for this example, I definitely prefer. And that is by speeding up the video to match with the audio. So we're just gonna left click on the video split. Then we're gonna click on speed. And then we can set it to something higher. So let's see how this is like. Yep, that's good enough. 1.5 speed is nice. Yeah, you can pretty much mess around with the speed here.
Oh boy, I'm so hungry I could eat an cock.
And now, let's get to the second example. Instead of him saying hungry, he's gonna say horny.
Oh boy, I'm so hungry. So
Okay, so with the word hungry, we can keep the huh,
hungry.
and now we're gonna check where he stops saying hungry.
I
Okay, and he just takes a short breath and then says the rest.
could eat an cock.
Yep, that's good enough. Now we're gonna do the same method here. Detach the audio.
Hungry.
The re is definitely something I want to keep. I'm gonna separate the re from the r. I can also mess around with the split a bit by also dragging it to the left a bit to get back some of the cutted out parts. Yep, that's a much clearer R. You know what? Never mind. I don't think this R fits to the word horny. It would sound weird and unnatural. And I think this U from the hungry also doesn't fit. But that's fine. I do have an idea how the sentence mix this. Let's just keep the H and the Y. So, now I want to find a OR. And then a N. Oh, I'm such a dummy. The word hungry has a N. I forgot that. I know I'm stupid, but that's the part of sentence mixing. You have to figure out when he says that's something that you want for the sentence. You can also mute some of these tracks if they annoy you. Yep, that's the N we want. Okay. Okay. Next I want a OR, and I'm sure we all know where the OR is. I mean, if you know CDI Zelda, you know an iconic line from the intro of Faces of Evil.
Gee, it sure is
Boring around here. Another tip is that if you want to grab some of the clips you've previously used, you can just go here and then go to recent stuff you've added. Here you see all the recent things you've imported. And yeah, the cutscenes are here. Because I do a lot of things with them.
Around here.
So I'm just gonna remove the rest of this and only keep this first line from Link. And now we're gonna check when he says the or from boring.
Gee, it sure is.
Okay, I don't want to hear the B anymore. I just want to hear the or.
Boring.
I think this sounds good enough. Okay, that's good. But now we have the opposite problem compared to before. Here the track was too long, so we had to make it faster. But here the track is too short. So what do we do now? Okay, so I'm just gonna drag these audio splits like this. And as for this part, we have two options, which are pretty much the same type of options. So we could just copy and paste again. And if you copy and paste between the splits, this happens. The split you've just copied and pasted is now in between the left and right splits. That just makes them... And that just makes this automatically long enough. Okay. And now the other method. For this I'm gonna do it like this. Make sure that these audio splits are also like that. Yeah, we need to make sure that the splits from the cock line are exactly in line. And now we're gonna use this method again and mess around with it. We're just gonna play around with the speed of this and see what we can do. Okay. 0.9 seems to be enough. We can also play around a bit and see how 0.95 is like. Okay, that looks better. That looks better. Because he opens his mouth quicker. That's just better looking. And we did it!
Oh boy, I'm so horny I could eat an cock.
Nice. I'm not the best at teaching tutorials, and I think there's many things out of this tutorial I have to edit out, so I apologize for that. But there's one last example I want to show, and this one is way more advanced than the other two. So with the cock, we just had to, you know, copy and paste one part of the word, and that's it. Turning ock to rock simply into cock. And then we replaced hungry with horny by using a bit of that word hungry and then mixing it with audio from a different clip, which in this case is from the Faces of Evil intro.
So horny I could eat an cock.
And now, for the finale, we're gonna make the king Harkinian. Yeah, King Harkinian. That's his name. Yeah, King Harkinian. We're gonna make the king make fun of Link. So I'm gonna take the my boy, and then after the my boy, I'm gonna make him say the stuff. So let's see. Okay, it's okay if we splice it like this when adding it to the timeline. We can still splice it after that. Okay, this is what is seen with the king saying my boy starts. And this is where it ends. On the moment I see Link instead of the king, I know that I'm on the correct frame to splice this. Oops. I accidentally dragged it too much. But yeah, on the moment I see Link, I can just splice and remove this. Yep, that's looking good.
My boy.
And now we're just gonna entirely mute this, and we're gonna take various lines from King Harkinian. I hope I pronounced his name correct. Sorry if I butchered the king's name. You know what, let's just call him the king for the rest of the video. That's how Link calls him.
Yeah, that old Ganon's no match for the king.
So first I want to make him say tats.
Zelda, Duke Onkled is under attack by...
And we have it already. Yeah, just from the Wand of Gamelon intro we already found it.
Zelda, Duke Onkled is under attack.
The way he pronounces attack is just good enough to make it sound like tat.
Tat. By the
Okay.
my boy. Tat. Tat. Tat.
The way he says tat because we took the tat from attack is funny. But hey, it works. He doesn't say a k at the end, so it works, I guess.
Tat.
We can check if a t at the end would work too, but doesn't look like it, and I don't think we really have to. We can if we want, but
Tat. Tat.
okay, doesn't work. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention this. If you're gonna use the splits for sentence mixing, one thing you will notice when doing more advanced stuff is that if the split is too small, exactly this size, you won't hear anything anymore. So it has to be at least this length to make sound, which is weird, but it's what you have to live with on Shotcut.
Tat. Tat.
Okay, I think it sounds okay. You can also try tricks like these to see if it mixes well. If you put it on a separate audio layer.
Tat.
Yep, sounds a bit better.
By the evil forces of
Okay, and because I want him to say tats, I want to take a s. I think this s sounds good enough. Let's see. Yep, that's it. We'll put that here.
tat.
That is...
Tat.
Yeah, maybe I could have done something better, but I think that's good enough, I guess, for the example. And now I want him to say, so. I think that's good enough.
Tat.
Okay, I think I could do it better by mixing his laugh in, you know, the laugh he does at the end of one of Gamelon. I think adding a s and that one laugh sounds better. So let's do that instead. I think I know where we can get an even better S, one that lasts longer.
Then we can talk about mercy.
Yep, mercy. That's the word we want the S from.
Then we can talk about mercy.
It's very long and you can very clearly hear it, which makes it good for so. Yep, sounds good enough. And now I want to get the laugh that plays out at the end of the outro. At the end of the one of Gamelon ending.
Great.
Yeah, because it sounds like him saying "Wah!" if you cut it short without the rest of the laugh. And so that makes it a good "Wah!" to add to the sentence mixing. There's a reason why many YouTube poopers like to add that. Not only because of how iconic and funny the laugh is, but also it's actually a good sentence mixing tool. I think that's enough. We definitely don't want to add the rest in there, since that will make it sound like a laugh, and then you will start hearing Zelda in the background. Yeah, hear that girl's laugh? That is Zelda. Let's see how that sounds like. I think that's too long. Yep, that's a good enough that is so.
My boy.
Now I'm gonna make him say the F-U-C-K word. So now I have to think where he said F. And I think I know where.
Zelda,
And that's the part where he says Triforce of Courage.
I'll take the Triforce of
Yep, we're gonna take the F of that. I think that's good enough. It also comes with the O, which might help for the pronunciation of fuck.
I'll take the Triforce of Courage to take the Triforce
You can also make it louder by adding gain/volume as an effect. If there's some split that would make it sound really good, but it sounds too quiet, you can make it a bit louder if you want, to make it clear. Okay, I don't want the or, because that doesn't fit to the word fuck. Yeah, you can either add a U here, or just censor it. I'm gonna do both. Because censoring stuff is funny. I'm gonna add a beep sound effect that I imported. Where you get your sound effects from, you will have to see. You will have to check around on the internet what sounds there are to use. That's something you have to check yourself. Same with the videos. Okay. It's a small beep, but hey, I like to add it anyways.
of Courage.
And now I want to take the K from courage. I could take many other K's, but I'm just gonna take this one since it's right there. I think that's a good strategy to sentence mix faster. Maybe try to use something you instantly find. And if that sounds awful, then fine, you can try to search for something else. And now I want you to say ing. Okay, so let's take the part where he says in a month.
If you don't hear from me in a month, hear from me.
I'm gonna check if the in from in a month sounds good enough. Let's see how it mixes. I want to remove the A. I think that sounds good enough for fucking. And now the last word we want to add. We can finally put an end to this. So I want a G. And it's also a D1 of Gamelon intro. Yeah, I could either take the part where he says do goglets, or the part where he says Ganon. So I'm gonna take this. Now we just need a we. Let's see if the part where he says we in the face of evil intro. Let's see if that part helps. Yep, it's here.
How can we?
Okay. I make sure that I don't hear we, and instead just the e. So what I make sure is that I don't hear the w out of the word, and instead just the e out of the word. Okay, I think 1.9 speed is good enough for this. Because, yeah, this is a very short sentence compared to what he actually says. So I'll just speed it up and see how it looks like. Let's make it... Let's actually make it 1.89. Perfect. That's so perfect. And yeah, to end off this video, let's just make the King and Zelda have a good laugh. Laughing at Link's gayness. Some classic YouTube poop stuff. A video ending with the King and Zelda laughing. Okay, I'm also gonna add a fade out here, since this footage of the cutscenes doesn't have the fade in and fade outs. Audio can stay that way. Okay, now that we're done with the sentence mixing, let's see how our 3 examples are as a short shitpost video.
Oh boy, I'm so horny I could eat an cock.
My boy, taps off again.
It works. Yeah, see, that's why I think it's a good example to start with sentence mixing. Again, Octorok, it's easy to turn that into cock. Once you learn those basics, you can try turning hungry into horny. And, you know, keep sentence mixing, and maybe one day you will be able to do these very insane mixes to a point where you just create some absurd sentences out of these characters.
Taps off again.
And you know the deal, just export it, post it, and profit, and have fun with your pooping skills. And I think that's it for today. I'm sorry if my tutorial skills aren't the best. I'm really trying my best here, but this was my tutorial on how to get started with sentence mixing on Shotcut. Again, it's a free editing software, so if you don't have an editing software but you want to get started with YouTube poops, I guess I can recommend Shotcut. There's also other video editing softwares out there, of course, but in terms of free video editing softwares, I would say Shotcut is great. And definitely a good software to start with. It also has some good effects. Yeah, and that's it for today. I hope this tutorial helped you improve your sentence mixing skills, or in general your video editing skills. Leave a like and a comment below, and we'll see us in the next video on the channel, I guess. Bye.